Instruction Skill 9 is about relating fractions, decimals, and percents. And I want to start here with this box with 3 forms of a number less than 1. It's a fraction, 1/4. It's a decimal, 0.25. And it's a percent, 25%. All 3 of those are saying the same thing. They're giving the same quantity, but they're in different forms. Remember that when you write a fraction, the numerator is the number of identified parts over the denominator, the total number of parts. So in this picture, we're looking at white tiles compared to all tiles. 4 are white out of 16 total. All right, we may use a calculator for this practice question. Best Furniture Company makes tabletops using 16 tiles as shown. What part of each tabletop is made from white tiles? Write your answer as a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. So the first thing that I would do, I would start with a fraction. And we know that the fraction is going to be the number of white tiles over all tiles. And we can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 white tiles. And there are, I'm going to count up, there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 total. So that initial fraction is 4/16. But it will simplify. So we're not finished there. That's an answer, but it's not the final answer. You can reduce top and bottom by 4. 4 into 4 is 1, and 4 into 16 is 4. So the fraction we're looking for is 1/4. So I could eliminate answers 1 and 2 because the fraction's not right. It's 1/2. So we can take care of that one and that one, and we have 3 to choose from. So now let's go to the decimal. And to get the decimal, I'm going to say 1, that's my numerator, (1) divided by 4. And 4 cannot go into 1. So you would add a decimal and 1 0. 4 into 10 goes 2 times. That's 8. So there's 2 left. There are 2 left. Add another 0 and bring it down. And 4 into 20 is 5 with nothing left. It terminates right there. So the decimal is 0.25. So we could eliminate 4 and 5 on the basis of that. We have, no, I'm sorry, we can't eliminate 5. We can eliminate 4. So we have it now down to 3 and 5. It's 1/4 and 0.25. The last thing we have to do is find the percent. And I think this is the easiest one of them. I am not saying it's easy, but it's the easiest to me. You take your decimal. You need to know your decimal. and you move the decimal 2 places to the right. So there's 1, 2. That's 25%. And so the answer we're looking for is number 3. Fraction, decimal, percent, they're all equal. So let me look at their solution and let's see what they did. Write the fraction of the tabletop that is made from white tiles. Reduce this fraction by dividing both numerator and denominator by the number 4, which is the greatest common factor. So they did the 4/16, just like we did. And then I did a bubble, but they did this thing, doesn't matter, and they got 1/4. Change the fraction 1/4 to a decimal. Divide the numerator 1 by the denominator 4. And that's what they did, just like we did. To convert a fraction to a percent, multiply by 100%. I just moved my decimal, but it's the same thing. You can do it either way to get the final answer. And I like this. They showed you how to do this on the Casio. I don't use the percent function myself, but it's good if you want to practice that. You're welcome to do that. I just never have used it, but I do use fractions and decimals. So practice working those and you will know how to do them on the Casio. All right, page 31. Here is a concept. After being on sale for only 2 weeks, 63% of the raffle tickets were sold. Which fraction is the best estimate of the fraction of total tickets sold? I like this one because if we're talking about 63%, that means 63 out of 100. Okay, that's a fraction. That's getting me headed in the right direction. However, they want an estimate. Okay, so my first thought would be this: 60 over 100. That would mean 6/10. That'll reduce by 2. So 2 into 6 is 3. 2 into 10 is 5. That is not one of my choices. I could guess possibly that I'm not even going to say that because I may get you confused. So that particular estimate did not work. So let's try, it couldn't round to 70. I'll tell you what, I'm going to look at this answer because I'm not sure what I'm missing here. I feel like I'm missing something and maybe you see it. But let me find this in the answer key. This is page 31. Here we go. Ah, that's interesting. Okay, the purple way is what I would have done, but here's what they want us to do. They want us to compare these to 1/2. We know that 63% is more than 1/2. We know that it's more than 1/2. I would never have thought to do it this way, but I kind of like it. So we can eliminate 2 because that is 1/2 and we need more than 1/2. We can eliminate 1/4 because that's smaller than a half. 3/8. If you think about this one, 4/8 would be half. So 3/8 is less than that. That could not be the answer. And then 5/16. If you think about that one, 8/16 would be the half. And 5 is less than 8, so that's less than a half. 2/3 is the only one of those that is greater than 1/2. I would never have thought of that. Another way that you could do it is to think that this is 67%. My answer was only 60%, so mine was not high enough. I see the logic here, though. I kind of like their method, but I would not have thought of that. Number 2, all blankets at Home Plus are on sale for 1/4 off. What percent discount does this fraction represent? Well, if you know that 1/4 equals 0.25, you know the answer. If you don't know that, though, here's how you would find it. You would say 1 divided by 4. You will have to add a decimal and a 0. That's 2. And one more 0. Oops. I'm jumping the gun. Sorry. That's a 0, and this is a 5. This is 20, so this terminates. And then that 0.25, you move 2 places to the right, and that gives you 25%. If you know that one without writing anything down, that's great. That's even better. This is called a benchmark because it's so common. You can also think of $0.25 is 25 cents. There are 4 quarters in $1. So this one is one to memorize. It is a benchmark. It's like 1/2 and 3/4, 1/3, 2/3. Those are all to memorize. The parking lot at Marinus Market is shown in the diagram below. What percent of the spaces are taken? Well, I know if I can find the total spaces, I can write a fraction. And if I can get the fraction, I can get the rest of it. All right, so let's count cars. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cars. And then let's count empty spaces. So I have 15 fill spaces. Here's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There are 20 spaces total. And if you want to go ahead and reduce that, you will maybe be glad. 5 into 15 is 3, and 5 into 20 is 4. 3/4 is a benchmark. What is 3/4 of $1 or 3/4 of $1? That's 75 cents. You can divide this to get your decimal. Four into 30 is 7 times. Add another 0. 4 into 20 is 5 times. So 0.75. becomes 75%. Again, that's a benchmark. If you know that 3/4 is 75%, you don't have to work this problem. All right, number 4. In a catalog, the width of a carving chisel is specified as 0.8 inch. How is the width of the chisel written as a fraction of an inch? 0.8 inch. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I hit, but it was crazy. So 0.8 inch. You have to know how to read the decimal. 8 in the tenths place. You only have one decimal place there. That's tenths. So you would write it as 8 tenths. That's not one of your choices, but you can simplify by 2 to get 4/5. And that is a reduced fraction, number 4. Here's another way that just popped in my head. It's not the way I would do it, but you absolutely could. You could go the decimal to percent route. 0.8 is 80%. And 80% means 80 over 100. Cancel those zeros and reduce to lowest terms, and you will still get the 4/5. So you could absolutely go that route. All right, application. The Workers' Credit Union charges a 4.32% annual interest rate for new car loans up to 60 months. For 72-month loans, an additional 0.75% is charged. What annual interest rate is charged on the longer loan? Okay, here you have 4.32%. That is in decimal form, also percent form. And we also have 0.75%. That's in fraction percent. I'm going to convert this because it's a benchmark. I know that that is 0.75%. And I know that because I know that this fraction and this decimal are the same amount. And then I need to add that 0.75% to that initial percent, and I'll get a percent. I'm liking 5.07 or option 1. Within 2 hours after the polls opened, 3/8 of the registered voters voted on the school bond issue. A television news announcer stated 80% of the registered voters were expected to vote. What percent of voters are still expected to vote? Mark your answer in the circles in the grid. Well, here's where my eye goes. There are lots of ways to solve this, but they are asking me what percent are still going to vote. So they want my answers in terms of percents. So we know that 80% are expected to vote. That matches what they're asking. So I don't want to change that in any way. We know that 3/8 voted. Here's the issue. I need to get this one into percentage form. So to do that, one way to do that is 3 divided by 8. I will show you the other way to do that. That won't go, so we have to add a 0. 8 into 30 goes 3 times. That is 24, and that leaves a remainder of 6. Bring down another 0. 8 into 60 goes 7 times. That's 56. 4 left over. Bring down another 0. 8 into 40 goes 5 times. That is 40 with nothing left over. So that 3/8 is 0.375, or 37.5%. Okay. Now we're not finished, because we have percentages. That's a start. That's a good thing. We have the 80% and we have this percent. But we need to find the difference between those percents. So I'm going to say 80 minus 37.5. So I'll borrow from the 8, give to the 10. Borrow from that one, give to this one. And then I can subtract. 42.5% have not yet voted. And this is what gets gridded. 42.5, 4, 2, point. Don't lose that decimal or you've missed it. 5. That's a good question. I would like it better if I could use a calculator, but I can't. So I have to know how to do this with mental math.